Ken Johnson and Dan Blanc are just two guys who love the fencing industry and are here to help you grow your company and find solutions to your business challenges.
You're listening to My Fence Life,
Powered by Southwest Automated Security. So buckle up and hold on tight as they take you on this ride called My Fence Life.
Hey guys, welcome to My Fence Life. Obviously, I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't even have a timer for the night. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
We gonna make it.
Yeah, we'll make it. We'll make it, right? So anyway, welcome to My Fence Life. This week we've got Susan Worley, right? Where you at, Susan? Right here.
I'm in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, we got Susan Worley. She's standing in for Ken Johnson. Cannon is at the Mr. Fence Academy, and I think it's in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. They got a huge house that they rented. I think there's like 70 guys up there, man. Incredible, huh?
Wow.
70
Wow,
guys
and I bet
up
it's
there.
beautiful right now too.
Yeah, I can only imagine. So that's where Ken is at. So Ken was like, hey, man, I can't do this. Can you do it for me? I was like, yeah, bro, I'm down. I'll get a celebrity host. It's like our celebrity bartender, right?
Thank you, Cannon. I love it.
So, Cannon, Susan, thanks you, bro. So let's get down to business, man. Look, Fence Lifers, what's up? Welcome to the live edition of My Fence Life. Tonight we got Tony Thorton from Thorton Fence Consulting Group. He's doing it all. He's a 45-plus year veteran of the fence industry. He's been a contractor, a supplier / distributor in manufacturing. He's developed efficient methods that have streamlined the process and highlight the importance of profitability. He's kicking ass and taking names.
I'm so excited for Tony Thornton. Like, he's literally the Richard Petty of fence. Like, we've talked about that. Y'all have talked about that, and I believe it. He's a name that everybody knows and a face that everybody sees. I see him all over social media. I see him all across the United States. And I think he's even going to be in Atlantic City in like 10 days. Like, how does he even do all that?
I don't know how he does it. Well, he has his own plane.
Well, I guess if you have your own plane, you can do anything you want, right?
Yeah. He's also, he just expedited a passport so he could leave the country. I don't know how much gas that plane holds, but he's going to find out.
I wonder how fast it goes and how long it'll take.
I hear you.
That's cool.
So, what's up, Fence fam? Welcome to the realest and the best, the #1 fence show on the planet. Just to make it official, the date is Wednesday, January 11th, and it's about 6 My Fence Life 30. I'm a little nervous. Cannon usually does all this. This show is for you. This show is for us. We call it My Fence Life. And if you're living a fence life, you understand just how real that can be. If you like the show, do us a favor, share the show, tell a friend. And look, don't forget, there are 3 shows a week available for download on several podcast channels, like 27 of them. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all kinds.
Yeah. And hey, y'all, I'm Susan K Worley. I'm your celebrity co-host standing in for Ken Johnson tonight. I'm also with Southwest Automated Security in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We do all things automation. We have a stronghold in gate operators, access control, and we have a growing focus on video surveillance. And this is my co-host, good old buddy, old pal, Dan Blanc. Dan is what we call the Fence King from Mandeville, Louisiana, also known as the swamp butt capital of the world. He loves it when Cannon says that. The Fence King is known for its beautiful wood fence and providing privacy, security, and peace of mind since 1999. And together, this is our show, My Fence
Everybody,
Life.
everybody, let's get into it. Get started, get started, get started, let's get it started.
Yeah, I hit the music a little early there. Hey guys, we got 3 rules to the show. We're going to be talking beer. We're going to be talking bourbon. We're going to be talking business. Tonight, Susan, she's at work. So she's like, hey, I'm drinking H2O, huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
like me some water.
Yeah, I just had my first bourbon in I don't know, it's been a week or so. So I'm taking it easy.
Sounds like you're fasting for the new year.
No, not quite. Anyway, guys, we're coming to you live from the Southwest Automated Security Studio, your one-stop shop for gate automation, access control, video surveillance, hardware. And with more than 19 locations, Southwest Automated Security will get the products that you want to your doorstep. Visit southwestautomated.com. You got to love those guys. And this is the part where Cannon plays some hype music, but I don't have it on my Rodecaster. So if Cannon, if you're watching, do a little dance for me and act like you're playing some hype music for us.
I hear it. I hear it in my heart.
Man, you got a review for us this week, Dan? We're going to call you Dan, huh?
Dan? Nope, I'm the celebrity co-host, Susan K. Yes, I do. This review comes to us from the Apple Podcast. It was written by Daniel Anderman, and it says, this podcast is anything but Blanc canon. I think he meant like a blank cannon, maybe. I don't know. It's chock full of interesting, informative guests targeted at the fence industry, ready to go off each week. I look forward to each release from these guys. Keep up the fantastic work. And it was 5 stars. I agree with him. And it was kind of a dad joke. I love it.
Yeah. Thank you, Daniel. We appreciate that. So, man, we're going to go ahead and bring on our guest, Tony Thorton. And here he comes, guys. This guy's somewhere in a hotel. We tried to find out his location, but it's super secret. He said, I can't tell you. So I guess we'll just have to believe him that he's in a hotel somewhere and he's not really at home. So what's going on, Tony?
Hello, everyone. How are you?
I'm doing great, man.
I'm so excited. I know I'm supposed to be the celebrity co-host, but I mean, I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity right now.
Hey, I tell everybody, this is just Tony. I'm just an old Mississippi redneck that grew up in the fence industry, and I am what you got. So it is what it is. Appreciate you having me, Dan.
No problem, man. Look, we followed you on social media, and you're everywhere, man. You're all over the place. It's crazy. We don't know where you're at today, but you've got a lot of stuff coming up. I know you just got approval to be the keynote speaker at the Canadian Fence Industry Association. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm real excited about that opportunity. I mean, y'all know that I could talk to one or talk to 1,000, but was invited to participate with CFIA in Niagara Falls, Ontario, here in a couple of months, and they have their annual event, very much like what we call our Fence Tech in our industry, or our fence show in our industry. They do an event that has a little tabletop, little training session, and their group, their boards get together and have discussions about how to improve. This will be their first get together since COVID, and we all know that Canada really got hammered with the shutdown due to COVID. So it's going to be a pleasure going up, being a keynote, providing them some hopefully motivation and some information that'll be helpful for them to take back and, make it a good, positive, profitable 2023. So I certainly appreciate those guys inviting me up and being part of that.
So are you gonna have any recordings from there? Are you gonna record anything?
I'm not sure how the content will flow. We're actually going to have a meeting next week when I get back to the office. I think there's also some training sessions that I'm going to be providing for those attendees, as well as the keynote speech. So I'm not sure if it's going to be recorded or not, but if it is, hopefully, we can make it available to our fencing industry. I mean, fence is fence, right? No matter what border you live in or behind, right?
Yeah. I mean, I hope Sam's able to get that up on the website or something so we can hear it and watch it. That would be awesome.
Agreed. And if you're nothing, you're at least motivating.
I don't know how I come about that, but it's usually a lot of fun.
I hear you, man. We got some people in the comments. Let's see who we got. We got Matt Lowry. He said he's doing the academy through live. I think is that with you? You're doing a live academy? Or is he doing that with
Matt's talking about Sean's Mr. Fence Academy this week. And, they had several people there. I don't know, 40 or 50 people there. And then they also opened it up to live attendance for the sessions of training. So I thought that was a brilliant idea. Sean and I had a conversation this past weekend about the event, wished him luck and everybody there. So I think he's got a good many that's attending, via their desktop or their phone sitting in the truck somewhere, during the day. So I think that's exciting.
Yeah, I think COVID helped with that a lot too. It showed that we could be places and not be places, but still.
This
be
is
places,
true,
right?
Yeah, this is true. Yep.
Who else we got? We got Daniel Anderman, the guy who wrote the 5-star review. Thank you, Daniel. He said, star guest host and an amazing guest. And Tony, going to be a fantastic show. We got Benji in the comments. What's up, Fence fam? And Nathan Downs, my good old buddy, old pal from Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Arrowhead, right? We love
Bixby.
Nathan.
That's called Bixby. Bixby.
Bixby. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Bixby. I know I got it right. Bixby.
Man, we got My Salesman in the house. Rachel, she's a owner and founder of My Salesman.
I love it.
Yeah, we got consultant Ron. We even got Toby from SAS. Well, look, guys, we're glad for y'all to be here. So Tony, we got some kind of big news, huh? About you and how you're going to be helping out in another area of the fence industry.
Well, you guys know, this industry is my life. And any way that I can get engaged or any way that I can help, I've always been willing to do so. And Brian Fredericks and I with Fence Workers Association, better known as FWA, we've been having a lot of conversation. And I'm going to get a little more involved with helping them with their training and education and their show that's going to be coming up next year. So, we're going to start making some announcements and some other things here in the next few months. But I'm excited about that opportunity, excited about that engagement. I just feel like, as an industry, everybody can touch, and raise the professionalism in our industry. So I'm excited about, Thornton Fence Consulting Group and FWA, partnering on some stuff. And that's going to be exciting.
Now, you're going to have a booth there also, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's all in preliminary stages, but I'm sure that we'll be doing some education, working with their team of people. They've already been working on some stuff. And I don't really know how everything's going to wash out, but definitely going to be much more heavily involved, than I have been. And hopefully it's going to be a great show, which I know it's going to be a great show.
Well, it only makes sense for you to get involved. You're already going to have a booth there, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I'll be an exhibitor. Thornton Fence Consulting Group, as you know, Susan, when I launched this thing back in April, I thought it was going to be a part-time thing. I just felt like there was people out there that needed some mentoring, some coaching, some opportunities to just have somebody to talk to. I love to talk. So this thing exploded, and I was very fortunate. I use the term all the time, very blessed that I was able to conduct 12 full-blown consults this last year, and we've already got 14 on the books for 2023.
Wow.
So, that just tells you that there's people in need, and it's been exciting. And, there's a lot of common denominators with everything that we've been talking about. But having an exhibit, I will be exhibiting at the Fence Show. I will be exhibiting at Jackpot. I will also be exhibiting at Fence Tech. So, just keeping Thornton Fence Consulting Group out front. And we're going to have some other interesting news a little bit later in the show here that I'll give you a heads up on. But we're gonna launch. It's always been a goal of mine to write a book. Okay, I didn't know what that book was going to be, but I guess after I retired from the American Fence Association, it basically came to realization that once you write a book about your experiences in the fencing industry and how others could possibly benefit from it. So we're in the editing stage right now, and hopefully we'll have that book published early spring for our fencing industry about 7 strategies that's really going to change the way you do business. So you heard it first on the Danny Cannon and Celebrity Susan Settian show.
I'm excited. I can't wait to read it. Add it to the list, and put it to work. I mean, I imagine like what you have to say applies to more than just the fence industry, just to business etiquette and business mindedness.
Susan, you hit that nail on the head. there's so many success strategies out there for businesses, and you could change the name from fence to plumbing, plumbing to electrical, electrical to landscape. But the 7 common denominators for how to run a successful company boils down to business, regardless of the trade. Now, I put the fence twist into the book, right, because that's what I know the best.
Right.
But it's been a fun experience. It's been jam-packed for the last 10 months of getting that stuff done. Now it's in the editor's hand. They're going through that process, and then hopefully we're going to have it ready to launch sometime around Fence Tech or a little bit after.
I'm just curious how you find time to do all of this. You had 2 super summits, and you said, 14 consultations last year, and you're somewhere right now. You'll be in like 5 places next week.
You just build a schedule and go get it, right? I mean, I do sleep, I promise. I do spend a lot of time with my family. My family is absolutely a priority to me. We got 6 grandkids that we chase all over the country, and it's that's a major priority for us. But in the book, we also talk about how to establish a great work-life balance. And I think I'm living example of that. I get a lot of work done. I get a lot accomplished, but, my family and friends and, everything else, is a priority as well. So it works out for everybody.
Tony, talking about the book that you're writing, I tell people all the time, I'm running a business. We just so happen we do fencing.
Yeah.
And that's really what it boils down to. I got a spot that I go to where, I buy my ammunition and guns and stuff. And I'm talking to that guy in there and telling him things that I'm doing. And he's like, oh man, that's a good idea. I never thought about doing that. And
yeah.
Like, it's just business,
That's right.
It's just business. So
it really is. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it really is. I mean, take the trade name out, take the retail, whatever you're doing out. But, to run a business, there's some key ingredients that you've got to really focus on. And we talk about the financials. We talk about knowing our numbers. We talk about the marketing and how to, let people know that you're in the industry or whatever you're doing. But there's business is business. And I learned a long time ago that you've got to focus on running your business. And we talk about it all the time. Don't work in your business, work on your business. And I know that's something that every business coach would tell you. But my gosh, when you grasp that concept and you turn that switch on, that's when your profitability is going to go up. That's when your efficiency is going to go up. Everything you do in a company is going to change when you make that decision.
Yeah. Definitely.
I totally agree. I mean, I'm not running a business per se the way that you guys are, but I mean, as an employee-owned company, it's very important for each of our branches to know their numbers and to understand how money is being moved around and how it affects the bottom line for us. That's something that our company is very passionate about. So I agree with you completely. I wish I could explain that to more people. I wish I could educate people the way you are.
Look, I mean, I was on Facebook last night, and out of the blue, Caleb Roth, he goes live, right?
Yep.
And he starts talking about P&Ling every individual job. And I was like, wow, that makes sense. I mean, imagine that.
Dan, you sat through the summit and you sat through the training, but you're already doing it in your business because you and I had these conversations. But if a business owner is not evaluating what his post installation looks like from the number standpoint. So we figure our materials, we figure our labor, we figure our overhead, our incidentals, those are all cost of goods. We sell it for a certain price, and then we've got this gross margin that's the difference, right? That we divide into the revenue. But at the end of the day, did we figure our labor right? If we figured 10 hours to do that job and it took us 12, how do we know that unless we do a pre-event or pre-job and a post-job? So what Caleb's talking about is a P&L, profit and loss. Look at the profit and loss on every job. And then, that's going to give you a better indicator as to what you've got to do to change, your attitude toward your margins. And I tell everybody in our consults, you've got to set that threshold at minimum margin and never go below it. I don't care what anybody says. I'm never going to go below this margin. And I mean, I was doing that back in the early 2000s, running my company. And to say it now, it's probably going to scare some people, but you know, I wouldn't touch a job for less than 40% margin. Okay. And back then, you know, everybody was doing markups, and I was already on the margin train. But you know, if I had to do a markup, it was 72% markup, because 72% give me 40% margin. I mean, that's the calculation, right? So these business owners know that.
I'm at 85.18%.
Wow.
Gross margin?
No, markup. So put you at 46.
Okay. Yeah. I was fixing to say, man, you're knocking it out of the park. Yeah.
No, so that puts you at a 46. But
You
look,
want to go to work for Thornton Fence Consulting Group?
No, so you know, we're at a 46, and you know, we track all our pricing and stuff. Well, we've been real busy, and Dylan usually goes in and makes adjustments and this and that.
Yeah.
And I hired a guy just to build spreadsheets for me. I got tired of Dylan's working all day. Then he's got to come in and work on spreadsheets because I don't know how to do them. So I hired a guy to do it. And actually, I found him on Facebook. I just put a thing out there. Hey, looking for somebody who knows how to build spreadsheets. So I had people from all over the country. And I really didn't want people from all over the country. I wanted somebody local that I could look in the face and talk to them, touch, feel, you know, hug, go have a beer, whatever. So a buddy of mine's a friend that I'm friends on Facebook. I don't even know why. He hit me up and he's like, hey, dude, I can do that. That's what I do for a living.
Wow.
I do it all day for a big tugboat company. And I was like, all right. So I cut him loose. Well, this dude built me a spreadsheet that's phenomenal when it comes to figuring material, figuring my cost. Within about 20 minutes, I had the cost of every type of fence we had. I went in, changed it in Job Nimbus. Now that took me about an hour or so to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Get it changed. Well, we're selling jobs. Well, I write all the contracts. So I'm going in adjusting to the new cost. Well, my gross profit dropped. You know, my margin dropped. And man, it was like maybe a day and a half. And Ron, the consultant, was like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you know, we got some jobs at 42. We had a job at 39. I'm like, dude, we thought we were good on our costs, but we weren't. But we let it slip for a couple months.
Yep.
Thinking, oh, yeah, cedar boards went down a little bit, but 4x4s went up. It's about what and what. Well, that changed everything more than what we thought. And then another thing we started doing, Tony, was I am so tired of building gates that twist and warp. So there's guys out there that, you know, they're doing metal frames on all their gates. Okay. In my market, a metal frame, everybody turns their nose up at it. They don't like the way it looks. It's really, really difficult to sell. And the guys that are selling it, they're doing a horrible job. They're using like 3/4 square steel bar, and they're spray painting it, and they're just using a 3-inch a deck screw to screw into the back of a wooden frame. It's a joke. So those guys even making it harder for me to even consider going to metal frames. Okay. So I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. I went ahead and just so you know, if you've never bought Western red cedar 2x4s, they don't sell them individually. You got to buy the whole bunk. The whole bunk. Have you ever bought a whole bunk of 2x4x16 cedar, Western red cedar 2x4s? Then you got to buy a whole bunk of 2x4x8s. Well, I made the invest. It was like a $15,000 investment to buy those two bunks of wood. Master Halco pulled up with 2 bunks of wood, and it was like, oh my God, it's $15,000. You know, it wasn't like an aluminum job, but you know, aluminum job comes on 2 pallets and it could be 15 grand, but
I get it.
Not lumber, right?
Yeah.
Well, we started building. I made a post on Facebook for Fence King. We started building all of our frames on our gates are all cedar 2x4s.
Yep.
So that's what we're doing to try to change that. Well, a 2x4x8 pressure treated is like, you know, $3. 2x4x8 cedar is like $12.
Yeah.
and then you're using, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, drives the price of your gates up quick.
Mhm.
Same. So I went in, got everything straight. This dude did a great job building a
Yeah.
spreadsheet for me. I got him
Yeah.
working on some other spreadsheets, but just that little bit, man, took my my margin from 46 to 42 to 43. I had a 39 in there because the guy had like 6 gates.
Oh,
And
wow.
it killed me.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I see a comment. Well, I see it at the bottom of the screen here. Zach made the comment. Hey, Zach, made the comment. Job costing is key. And to your point, you even said it. I got lax on updating my pricing for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden, my gross margin changed immediately. And that's what is called running your business, staying on top of your business. If you've got price changes occurring, it's imperative that we go into our systems, whether spreadsheet, whether it's business technology, whatever it is, and we update that to where we know that we're still maintaining the minimum margins, and above that it takes to run the business. Everybody I talk to, we got to know exactly what it takes for me to walk in the door, flip the light switch on, power, lights come on, coffee pot starts brewing, and I can run my operation for that day. I got to know that number, right? And without job costing, without knowing what I've estimated it to be, that I've told Miss Jones it's going to cost her, we sign the contract. If I don't do a follow-up to see, did it actually take 8 hours to do that? Did I actually cover the cost of the material? And did I have my margin on it? Those are the 3 things you're looking at. So again, every business owner should be doing that. Most people just look at it from a lump sum perspective, but sometimes you got to get in the weeds. And that's what running your business takes, getting in the weeds, if you're going to make it successful.
Yes, I find that I'm in my P&L probably every week. I'm in my looking at my net margins, looking at just why did UPS cost so much more this month? I need a bill. I need explanation. We need to talk about this because every penny counts, and everything that's going out the door that you're not paying attention to, it's going to keep going out the door.
Oh, so somebody's paying for it. It's either the customer or it's you. Which one do you want to pay for it, right?
Right.
No, you're right. You're right, man. So we already do kind of what Caleb was talking about.
Yeah.
I've got a guy that works for me, and he has access to my trucks, to all the GPSs on my trucks, the cameras at the yard. So he'll go in and do a job thing. All right, the guys left the yard at this time. The guys got back at the yard at this time. And that's what we're using to calculate how many feet per man per hour.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy if somebody goes, hey, I got a 200-foot job. What is that going to cost me? I can go real quick. I can hit a couple buttons. Okay, you got this many feet divided by this many hours. This many men divided by this many, feet per hour divided by 10.5-hour days. Boom. Yeah, we can do that job in 2.5 days.
Yeah.
I can't do it by foot,
Well, what that also tells you too, Dan, is that when you do a post-job evaluation, you're running the numbers on after you finished it up, it's going to give you immediate notice if you hit your mark, right? So if you've got a sales staff of 3 or 4 running around out there and they're all quoting the same thing that you were quoting, then you've just multiplied that percentage less 4 times, right? So when we know that we're off the mark, we've got to increase the prices to accommodate. If cost of materials go up, we got to plug that number in, right? We know what our margins are. We got to know what our labor is. And after you do it for a while, it gets pretty consistent. But if we're missing that labor mark, that's where the biggest mistakes of most companies are. Y'all know I've been training folks and mentoring and coaching for years, even as the past executive director. We was doing that before I even started making money at Thorton Fence Consulting Group doing it. But I tell everybody, material cost is material cost. There's some big companies out there getting 1 or 2 points better than you are, but material cost is material cost. Where your difference is your labor cost. You've got to know that 2-man truck and what it costs you and how many feet or sections of fence that crew can put in. You're going to have one crew that's more efficient on installing wood. You're going to have another crew that may be more efficient in installing chain link. But you got this other guy, man, he's versatile at everything, and he can knock the socks out of all of it, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got to know those labor numbers for when when you figure this price up after the job is done to see if those margins were hit. And unless you go run evaluations on it, you can't make those immediate changes. You know, that weekly dashboard that a lot of our industry talks about all the time, that's real important. And if you've got your labor hours, your man hours, and those type things built in, what percentage of your margins is built in on that dashboard, you're going to have an immediate owner knowledge, to where you can go make those changes wherever they are to accommodate before you fall into that making less money next week.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a big deal, man, because like we're on a job right now. We're doing an 8-foot postmaster job.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at it close because we had some issues with it. We went to go drive it. And this guy, he told me, he said, look, I don't want to tell you who built my fence 7 years ago, but look at it. And this fence was all leaning and falling.
Yeah.
So we walk around, I see the sign, and I'm like, man, those guys kind of, they do decent work, right? I mean,
Yeah.
And we found a couple posts that were pretty bad. We found a couple posts only 16 inches in the ground. But that's the reason why the fence looks so bad.
Yeah.
But the majority of the posts from my area, 24 inches is norm. I'm probably the only one doing 30 inches setting posts. Now, there's a few other companies starting to pick up on it. A guy or two in Slidell, a guy or two in Denham, and maybe 10. But people are starting to pick up on it. And look, big shout out to Sean. Because of Sean, a lot of that's happening.
Yeah.
Anyway, we drive these posts, Tony, 40 inches deep, the postmaster, and I can put it out the ground with one hand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You don't see that often.
Dude, this is how wet, and there was no clay on this lot.
Oh, yeah.
So we went ahead, had to pull up the post that we did drive, which wasn't very difficult to do. Literally, Dylan sent me a video. He's pulling it out 40 inches with one hand.
That's crazy.
We had to go back, dig the whole job. We weren't prepared, didn't have concrete, and we're still right on track. Today, we had 5 days figured on that job, and today was our 5th day, and we still made it. So those are the kind of things that I'm like, okay, so we would have did that job faster, so we don't need to be bidding that job at 5 days. Thank God we bidded it at 5 days.
There you go. Yeah, thank goodness you did. You had that cushion.
Because I didn't have any loss. But by making notes of that and then putting it in the computer, hey, 8-foot postmaster, let's change this, let's change this formula. Boom. Now we can roll with it. But that's because we're doing we're doing post. I don't want to say post because the job didn't finish yet.
Yeah.
But because we're doing that, I'm just going to take it another step and do what Caleb's saying and bring in my material. I'm just looking at my labor. I'm not putting my material into it.
Right.
Your
material is usually going to be pretty close unless Miss Jones changed the job, right? I mean, if you figure 200 foot of fence, whether it's footage or sections, 200 foot equal ever how many sections, material is going to be give or take 10%. So your material is usually going to be spot on unless somebody didn't increase the prices on that in the system when they sold it. Dan. And then all of a sudden you get caught, right? Well, that's the reason we're running that report. We're checking. But again, your labor is where the biggest challenge is, and knowing what that is, you dial it in. And like you said, you make an adjustment. So the next job you go on, you're going to know, you're going to be perfectly planned for it. But you got to, even if companies don't do every job that way, they need to spot check a handful of different styles, different disciplines, wood, chain link, ornamental, vinyl, whatever they're doing, just to spot check and see if they're maintaining the percentages that they need. I think that's a huge business owner responsibility for sure. Yeah,
it definitely is, man. It is.
Yeah.
We're, and after seeing that live, then I see Joe Everest pops in and goes, "Hey, Dan, you can do that within the CRM that you're using. They have a budget system." And I was like, "Oh, shit. I didn't even know that." So now that's my next thing, man. I gotta figure that out. And I got to see what's going on with that,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Hey guys, we got breaking news this week. Breaking news is coming to you from good old D&D Technologies, the name brand and gate hardware, the creator of the Magna Latch and the Shut It badass hand. If it doesn't say D&D, it's not badass. Guys, we got a crazy story for you this week. So this lady, she is dressed in a bee suit and she's getting arrested. A Massachusetts woman who released a swarm of bees on the sheriff's deputies as they tried to serve her an eviction notice. So this lady had bees in her yard, and she she goes out and smashes the hive, releases a swarm of bees, thinking that she's not gonna.
Bees attack!
Yeah. Rory
That's
Woods,
hilarious.
55, pleaded not guilty at her arraignment on October 12th in the Springfield District Court, and she was released without bail.
Wow.
And yeah, so she and other protesters maintained that they were trying to prevent a wrongful eviction. The homeowner, Alton King, brought evidence of bankruptcy to the court day and was like, hey, everything should be stopped. Grace needs to get out my house. The lawyer did not respond to a voicemail left by the Associated Press, but she was arrested. Woods, who lives in Hadley, arrived in an SUV towing a trailer carrying beehives and started shaking them, breaking them off one by one, causing hundreds of bees to swarm and initially stinging one deputy, according to the report. Woods, who put a beekeeper suit on herself and was protected, was handcuffed and hauled away. So that's our breaking news, guys. Thanks to D&D Technologies. So,
I feel like that's like attempted murder or something.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to charge her with assault with
Right.
a deadly bee. I don't.
people are crazy. They'll do anything. But look, guys, D&D Technologies. I just want to let you know we built some 8-foot tall gates on this postmaster fence, and this is the difference in the D&D strap hinges that we buy. Now, I used to buy another strap hinge. I think it was called Everbuilt. We switched over to D&D. We can build an 8-foot tall gate with D&D hinges, and we don't have to worry about where the barrel meets it relaxing and then the gate sagging, all because the hinge is failing. And what does that mean? That means no callbacks. What does that mean? That post report that you do on your job, you don't have to go back and make a change to it because you had to spend 3 hours. We're going back to the job, fixing the gate, and then going off to your next job. So thank you, D&D, for those hinges, man. I love those things. They really are badass, even though they aren't your
They are
badass hinges. Right?
They are badass. Yes. I love it.
So
But
look,
the
man,
bee
it was
story,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I was saying, I feel like the bee story makes me think of the experts saying still, like they have the citronella like stain to keep away like mosquitoes. Like, do they have anything for bees, like to keep them out of your yard while you're swimming outside?
Well, you
That'd
do
be
know
cool.
that expert stain and seal, that keeps out those wood-boring bees.
There you go. Look at that. That's
Can't beat
amazing.
that. You're pretty smart. Look, I saw a question up here. Corey Bigelow, he said, when is Tony doing his gate automation training? I don't know.
Good
How's he know
job,
about all
Corey.
that?
Good job, Corey. Well, as we were in the green room, Susan and I were talking about this. We're fixing to do some pretty major promotions, Dan. But Thornton Fence Consulting Group and SAS, Southwest Automated Security, has joined teams, and we're going to do what we're calling the Gate Operator Troubleshooting Boot Camp in Dallas, Texas. Those dates will be July 17 through 19. It will be held at the SAS Training Center there in Dallas. Very excited about that. We've been building the promos. We've been building the introduction, and reaching out to the potential, folks that will be training, okay, our manufacturers that'll be training. So this will be a first. How we came about this was brainstorming on what is the industry not providing? The industry is providing a lot of training on design for gate operators. They're providing a lot of training on how to install properly, but nobody's training on how to troubleshoot. So the whole focus on this is no matter what the manufacturer is, he's not going to sales pitch. She's not going to sales pitch. We're going to teach you, how to troubleshoot 1 or 2, 3 components within that manufacturer's, catalog to better help you, do your technical stuff in the field. Okay. I know Door King, right? I mean, I grew up as a Door King, rep for almost 10 years, so if we got a Door King rep there that's going to be trained in the technical aspects on an 1812 or a 9100 or whatever the case may be, every manufacturer gets to choose what they're going to be doing. So, again, we're very excited about that. It's going to be a first for our industry. I know that SAS has really been doing a good job with our open houses and, getting people to their events. And I think this is just taking it to one next level. And I was very excited about Jeff and their team jumping on board with this. And we are really excited about that. A very first for our industry.
Yes, I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to be super awesome, especially if you're going to be teaching it. The simple 5 steps that you need to know every time you step on foot, everybody needs to know that. Every fence guy needs to know that. Yeah.
Even as simple as how to read a meter. I go back to the days when I was in automation. A lot of people don't realize that I was very heavily involved with the automation industry. I owned a distribution group. We grew to the 3rd largest distribution group in the country. And I was very fortunate to sell that company. Didn't get enough to retire. I guess wasn't very smart. But at the end of the day, I installed hundreds of the old Stanley gate operators. So, there's a lot of these young kids that don't even know what a Stanley gate operator is. We didn't have these circuit boards that all you luxury components have today. We had R1 and contactor relays that would shock you to death, in more ways than one. But, I'm excited about this. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think we're going to get a lot of engagement, from our manufacturers to say, hey, I want to be there. It's going to be over 2 days. We're going to give them all 2-hour slots, and they can train as long as it's technical on their particular products.
I heard those Stanleys used to have like a wheel with hamsters in it. You used to go out and feed them every once in a while.
Hey, Dan, I can take you to jobs in the state of Mississippi that still has Stanley 570s, still running, I get pictures from friends there that are servicing gate operators that my company installed. My gosh, that would have been early 2000s, right? I would have been 32 years old, and still have our old signs on there, the old ETS signs on the side of the operators. They're workhorses, but
wow.
Howard Evans.
Yes.
Called me the other day and said, I got a Stanley here. I bet you Tony put this in. I'm not kidding right now. This was last week.
That is funny. Howard worked with our organization for years. Of course, I'm personal family friends with them. But yeah, that is funny that come around. That's for sure. But thanks for asking about that, Corey, because again, that's going to be a first. It's going to be a lot of exciting, fun. And at the end of the day, those technicians are going to leave there with some very valuable tools to help them in the field. That's the key.
Look, we got a guy, Drew Raymond, here in the comments. He says, "Does anyone use the profit first for construction method of cash management?"
I train on it.
I do.
Thorton Fence Consulting.
You want to
Thorton Fence Consulting Group believes in it, trains on it. Every time, you can read Profit First, and then you can read Profit First for Contractors. There's some of those things in that book that was like, oh my God, are you crazy? I can't do that. But if you follow that Profit First process, as closely as possible, it'll change the way your business is profitable.
Susan, have you ever read that book, Profit First, by Mike Michalkowicz? Mm-hmm. I can't believe I said that. I got it right.
You did it good. You did. You
even had Fredrickson.
You did good. You did
Mike
good.
Michalkowicz. He did Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, Profit First, Pumpkin Plan. I've read all those. And you want to freak out your CPA? Open up a profit account for your checking He's freaking out. What are you doing? Nope, that's my property. It goes in there. I don't touch it. That's
That's
it.
right.
That's it.
That's right. Don't talk to me about it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, that's like a whole nother account. I don't care.
No.
Do I have to pay you
It's
extra to look at that account? Then I will, but I'm not touching it. And I'm not touching it to pay you extra to deal with it.
no. It's got some very unique procedures in there that'll blow most business owners' minds. But if you follow that procedure, you're going to be better positioned for it. I will also share with you, Dan, that I've been negotiating with an accounting group, a bookkeeping group, for the last several months. Because in all these consults, only a handful of them have really known their financials or how to properly put together, their P&Ls and run their books. A lot of them are using outsourced CPAs. And so I said, you know what, that's a need. That's something we need to fill. So I negotiated a deal with a group up in Pennsylvania, okay? And her firm is a firm believer in profit first. And we're going to introduce that as a service through Thornton Fence Consulting Group, that if a fence company needs bookkeeping capability, that someone that understands our trade, okay, Thornton Fence Consulting Group is going to be able to handle that. We're going to launch that probably in the next 30 days or so. So
Wow.
It'll be promoted through social media and other things. But that's one of the biggest voids in our industry for most of these business owners. They're not doing their bookkeeping efficiently, and it's costing them a lot of money.
Well,
That's
Tony,
amazing.
I used to ride around these subdivisions back when I was doing estimates, right? And I'm looking and I'm like, man, how are some of these guys able to come up with the insurance? How do they have their books right to where they can have workman's comp and have all these crews just framing houses, right?
Yeah.
How are they doing that? I know how. And this is what I did. I went out and found me a Latino tax attorney, and I found me a Latino CPA, and then they recommended me to a Latino insurance guy. And when I'm in the room with those guys, half the time I don't know what they're saying. I'm just like,
I'm with you.
okay. But those guys know how to do it. Think about it.
Yeah.
How am I driving through, and all these Spanish guys are building houses, and I can't get my book straight to the point. This was, a few years back.
Yeah.
To where I can supply you with the documents that you need to do the work and get on board. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to beat them. I'm just going to join them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what I did. My tax attorney, Jay Costa Blanco. My CPA, Haver Gonzalez. You know what I mean? My insurance agent, his name is Giovanni.
That is hilarious.
Is that funny?
That is
what?
hilarious.
It works, man. Those guys know what they're doing. They know the system. They know what needs to be done to make sure everything's good, and I love it. I freaking love it. So
hey, Dan, talking about business, I want to tell you this. I want to tell the listeners this before I forget. And you're talking about business and how to be more profitable with what you just said. Guys, if you've got a good CPA, please reach out to them and talk to them about the employee retention credit that the U.S. government has thrown out there.
Mm-hmm.
I've got two clients that just received one over $1 million in credit. Okay. They don't have to pay it back, guys. They got $1 million because they provided the proper paperwork on this employment retention credit. I got another one. They got 225,000. Okay. Now these companies were impacted by COVID. It's a COVID impact fund, but you have to check with your CPA. There are some groups out there that will do it for a fee. They'll charge you 15, 20%, on your money. But I mean, good gracious, it's free money, and somebody's going to get it. So all of our fence trade professionals, they really need to look at this. And if you haven't taken advantage of that, please go look at it. Please, it could impact you, tremendously. If you lost money during COVID, this is a way to get it back, in a lot of ways. So I don't know if you'd heard of it.
I haven't heard of it, but I mean, if you're going to start teaching people about their books, are you going to teach them about getting veteran credits through hiring veterans and earning that money back through the state and stuff like that. All the tips and tricks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, man. There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Look, guys, I want to take a break right here. We got the Finch Track Fence Sign giveaway coming out. You're going to want one of these. It's Fence Life. It's a license plate. It's a fence sign. Cannon's over at the Mr. Fence Academy. I got pictures the other day. They've been installing these on trucks. They look great. We're going to be sending these out to you guys. We've had like 45 people. Susan, you believe that? 45 people have gone to myfencelife.com, scroll down to the bottom, went to the contact us form, and filled out the form to get Fence Life signed. And I got some pretty cool stuff, man.
What you
SAS, they gave us some pocket knives to give away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right? Benji with Clever Fox gave us some pins. I don't know if y'all collect pins, but they're pretty dope. Expert Stain and Seal. Normally, you got to pay for these things, I think. I think you do. We're going to be sending y'all Expert Stain and Seal samples.
Very nice.
We also got some Expert Stain and Seal brochures. And to top it off, Finch Track's like, hey, I'm not just going to supply the signs. I'm going to give y'all hats. Send these hats to the guys. D&D Technologies. You like camouflage? It's hunting season. Go fill that out. I'll get you a hat. Expert Stain and Seal. Let me tell you something. I got a guy that works for me, and he is a helper. He doesn't know a whole lot about fencing. He's still learning it. And he wears this hat every day. And guess what the homeowner does? She walks right past my crew leader over to the helper because she thinks he's the expert. I swear to God. Like, hey, what are y'all going to do here? And he's like, I don't know.
I feel like I need a hat now then, so the people think I'm the expert here, huh?
I know.
I'll wear
Is
it
that
next
crazy,
time.
though? Just because he's got that hat on.
That
Nuts.
is cool.
Insane. So, look, Nathan Downs is saying that event in July is going to be awesome. What event are we talking about? Is that the one at
That's
in
the
Denver?
boot camp. That's the gate operator boot camp in July that he's talking about.
The hands-on at the Dallas branch. They have an amazing training room, tons of space, audio visual, and like displays everywhere for you to touch and mess with. Like it's the ultimate.
Now, is the AFA going to have their trailer there? Do y'all know?
I don't know. I mean, that boot camp is totally focused on that technician, training, that troubleshooting training.
Well, man, somebody needs to get a hold of them and say, hey, if it's going to happen in Dallas, why can't we use this trailer?
The trailer's in Louisiana.
Oh,
yes, it is.
I know where the trailer's at. But,
Me too.
yeah.
Oh, wait. I do know where that trailer's at. I've seen it.
Yeah, there you go.
I do know where it's at. It's over there in Baton Rouge.
Well, Susan and I were talking about this before the show, Dan, while you were getting some stuff together. The American Fence Association has finally got an appointment with the Louisiana Fire Marshal to have conversations about training. And that happened a couple of months ago, actually about a month ago. Our good friend Mike Gullich down there in that market, who's really worked hard on that for several years. COVID hit, kind of put us on the back burner, but Mike's got that fire lit again. And I believe the association is going in and training a group of fire marshals here in the next 30 days on what to look for UL and ASTM compliance on gate installations. Because as we know, the state of Louisiana requires licensing, and you get your licensing through certifications that, people are providing, third-party entities are providing. So I think this is a huge, check in the box that personally I've worked on heavily for years. And I know that the state of Louisiana, especially those gate automation guys down there, is going to be looking for the professional ones, right? The ones that are doing it right are looking for it because it's going to put everybody on a level playing field. So I'm excited for that to happen.
Well, and they're going to be testing them as well. And they're talking about getting in touch with architects and engineers to get ahead of the problem before it starts.
Yes.
So
I think that's going to be good.
So check this out, man. I got a guy on my website. He's doing a My Salesman, right? He's on there measuring his lot, got a price for a fence. So we gave him a price. Well, he didn't use us. That's fine. I'm okay with that. You know, my guys get a little upset. Hey, why didn't we get that job? We bidded it. Well, why didn't we get it? Well, I'd rather not get it than get it at a margin that we don't work at, right?
No.
I'd
No.
rather drive by and wave and be like, okay, guys, I hope y'all making money on that job, because I wouldn't have, you know? So anyway, this guy's doing a My Salesman. We bid the job. We don't get it. I talked to this guy. I said, look, man, if you're wanting to do this, this, and this, you know, you got to have all this stuff right. Oh, okay. Well, he went a different route. Well, guess what? The job is sitting on Susan's desk, right? Daryl's dealing with it. We're having to go back and fix his current operator because it's got all kinds of issues on it. The fence that he had built across the street for this, whatever he's got going on, nothing is right. The gates are wrong. He's having to get whoever built the gates for him to rebuild the gates so we can put operators on there. Then his property next door, he wants to put operators. Thank God he didn't get anything done over there. So now we can go over there, do what we got to do it right. It's a shit show, huh, Susan?
The drawings like confuse me so much. I had to get other people in the industry to like weigh in. I'm like, I don't even understand what I'm looking at. That's just how messed up it was.
You see them, and that's where the industry training has to come in for you know, our professionals to know how to meet the standards, exceed the standards, because knowing that the state of Louisiana is going to have somebody, I'm going to call them the ULASTM police force. They're going to be looking for it. I mean, what a great day in our industry, personally.
Amen.
You know, because it's going to hold people accountable for what they're doing. Because I remember right when the state of Louisiana put their licensing into place, you know, there was a couple of non-licensed companies installing. That's still when I was with Door King running as regional sales manager in that market. They shut them down and fined them like $5,000. Okay, because they weren't licensed.
Oh, wow.
You know, so it was serious back then. And then during COVID, everything got so lax, you know, that everybody's just kind of staying away from everything. And then now that this is back on the burner, I'm real excited about this. I'm hopefully I'm going to listen for the success stories. I guess is where I'm going to come from.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
well,
too,
you paved
man.
that way. You wrote that book, sir. Don't forget that. This is.
I didn't write that book. No, there was a lot of good peers in the industry that wrote that book. I just put it in front of that fire marshal's face that day, along with Mike Gullich, to say, hey, you don't have to go build your own curriculum. Here it is. It's already written. These professionals, these industry knowledge people have put it out here. Now all you got to do is say, let's get certified and let's go do it, you know. So that kudo goes to all of those guys that worked on the coalition committee so many years ago, building that book, building that training. And now look at where we're at. It's not happening fast enough, end of the day.
Right.
So, yeah.
No, it's not, man, because we go up against guys that man, I can't believe some of the things we see.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
I follow Susan. What is it? Susan K of SAS. I follow Susan, and she does like a funny Wednesday or something, with a funny Friday or whatever.
Funny Fridays, yeah.
Funny Fridays, and some of those pictures that she sends, that she posts, I'm just like, oh my God.
Some are scary.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, one of the biggest, I won't say, one of the biggest arguments I got in on social media was because I posted pictures of a non-compliant gate system in my son's city of Midland when he was living down in Midland, and these gates were just all over the place. I mean, there wasn't a compliant piece on it, okay? And I said, you know, guys, what do you think? What do you think? What you got? And this guy come on and says, you know, you don't need to be showing that. You don't need to be telling the industry, you know, that we're doing it wrong. Yes, we do. Okay. And I'm just the guy that will do it. Right. You know,
Right.
But one of the biggest arguments that I got in was this guy saying, well, that's not, you know, that's not a law. That's not a requirement. It is in the state of Louisiana. You know, that's what you're supposed to be doing, you know? So anyway, it's fun, you know. But we have got to police ourselves. That's what's been expected. And now that Louisiana has jumped on board, you know, we're going to see some other states jump on. I think you're going to see Florida. I think you're going to see some other states that's going to fall tilt to that because another plus, okay, that I'm going to tell everybody is that guess who is the I guess you would call it the president of the Fire Marshals Association for the United States. You want to guess?
Wait.
Come on, Susan. Guess.
Tony Thornton?
No. Come on, Dan. Give me a guess.
Wait. What am I guessing on? Say that again.
You're guessing of who the president is for the Fire Marshals Association for the United States.
For the Fire Marshals.
Are they in the fencing industry or are they in politics?
Is it Mike? I don't say his last name right. Goodge?
No. Guys, it is the past fire marshal chief for the state of Louisiana.
Oh.
Who's that?
Okay. I don't know his name. I forgot it. I remember sitting in his office a lot of times, but I've forgotten his name. Mike could tell you real quick. But guys, to have that guy at the head chair, okay, of the Fire Marshals Association to be able to say, look what Louisiana's been able to accomplish with this. You guys need to take a look at this. Look at the success we're starting to have. This could happen sooner than we expected, but it takes a lot of people pushing.
Look, man, Louisiana's been last so many times. I'm just glad we're first in something. That's all.
Look, hey, y'all know my home state's Mississippi, man. I'm gonna give you a quick run on that last thing with Mississippi, okay?
Hey, look, man, they got the casinos down pat, right? Mm-hmm. They got the best roads around. Why? Because they got the casinos. Louisiana, too much politics, man. Governor Edwards.
It happened. It's
R.I.P.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Hey, Dan, I want to tell you and Susan a success story. I got to pat myself on the back just a minute, okay?
Yes,
my first consult after retirement from AFA, this guy called me, says, Tony, I need your help. Come show up. Just tell me what I got to do. If you say it, I'm going to write it in Holy Grail, and I'm going to follow that guideline. He sent me an email today, and we're 3 months away from 1 year. Okay, March will be when I retired, so we're almost a year into what our goals and objectives were for his company. But he sent this thing to me, and he says, "Hey, I'm just looking for some KPIs. I want you to tell me if I'm on track or not." Now we have conversations all the time, but his gross profit margin is at 43. His net profit is 14, finishing up this last year. And his expense overhead, he lowered it from 35 to 29. Wow. And he's asking me, are these numbers good? Now, listen to this, okay? By the way, year over year was 67% increase from 1.2 million to 2 million. And our goal for 2023, both based on the goals and objectives that we put in place last year, is a 50% growth to be over 3 million. That's a success story. I mean, that's the type of stuff that impacts business owners. But you know what? It just takes a little bit of time to help people, and there's more people out there helping folks right now, mentoring and coaching than we've ever had in our industry.
That 14% net profit, his banker's going to love that. Going to love it. The line of credit they're going to give him, right? We love that. You know who else is going to love that 14% net profit? The IRS. But
yeah, those two don't go hand in hand. That's for sure,
man. But that's a big problem, Tony. That's a big problem. You got a guy doing your taxes, and it's his job for you not to pay taxes.
I know it.
Right? But that's a problem.
Yeah.
I see these guys that go out. There's a tree company that I pass every day. So I stopped in and saw Sean. He's got 6 F-250s parked out there, brand new, all red, waiting to go get signage on it. I said, Jesus Christ, Sean, what are you doing? Oh, man, I had to go buy all these trucks because I'm like, well, Sean, you do realize, I don't know if you're still showing a profit, but if you don't show a decent profit, the bank's not going to loan you money. They're not going to give you a bigger line of credit. And he's like, well, my tax guy said I had to go buy some trucks. I mean, I get that.
He better
So
run that
now-
debt ratio percentage.
So he just texted me while we're on the show. He texted me a few minutes, like 20 minutes ago, and he's like, "So I made like 2% this year." And I'm like, "Dude, you shouldn't have bought them trucks."
I get it.
You should.
Yeah,
That's what you saw me over. I'm like, "You shouldn't have bought those trucks. I'll call you
that's
on my way
funny.
home." So really, yeah, he's got new trucks, but he probably could have got a $20, $30, $40, $50,000 bump in his line of credit at the bank
Yes.
if
Yeah.
he just would have paid the taxes on all the money he just spent.
It is kind of an odd situation where you definitely want, a good bottom line to where you can have that to show to the bank, but then you want to show, okay, I've spent as much as I can because I don't want to pay taxes. So that's just the business process. I mean, you've got to wrap your head around it, and you've got to be able to give in on one spot or the other. When I got this email this afternoon, I mean, I stood up and I just said yes, okay. And we're seeing that with everybody, because when you tell companies, and y'all have heard me in some of my videos and some of my training, those companies that understand what cost of goods include, okay, which is, your materials, your labor, incidentals that went into those installation jobs, and then your overhead, you put those four together, and you got your whatever you're selling it for, the cost of goods, and you get that margin. But if you've got a gross margin that's in that 40 to 50% range, I tell every consult that I go to, and even the summit training, you're doing good. I mean, you're doing good, 40 to 50% gross margin. But if you really want to hit some grand slams, let's get that gross margin above 50%, okay? And then as private held owners, okay, if you want to buy a boat out of your expenses, that's all on you. I can't tell you what to do there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to take that money and reinvest it in your company, then you're going to improve that bottom line, and that net profit percentage. Because another thing that I'm learning from these companies is most of them don't have a succession or a mergers or acquisition thought in their head, okay? They're just running their business, or the business is running them. They don't even have a clue. But at the end of the day, they don't know what they're going to do next. They're just trying to stay alive. So what is the plan? And if you're going to have a company, a true company, look at you, you got to have your financials in order. You got to have good margins, okay? And you can't be blowing money, out of your expenses that, an equity firm or a purchaser that's wanting to buy you will even take a hard look at you, because they're going to look at two quick percentages. What's your gross margin? What's your net margin? And then they're going to deep dive. They're going to get into the weeds on everything and find out where every dollar's going. So I just think that most of these companies that are really, having a challenge, all these companies that are getting these valuations to sell, man, you got to have your house in order if you're ever going to go down that path.
Yeah, you do, man. You really do. I mean, you want to buy a boat, take an owner's draw and go from there. But don't pull it out of the company. Don't pull it, because somebody's out there watching, and you don't know who it is. And look, there may not be anybody watching, but if there is, I want to make sure my ducks in a row. My shit's together.
Well, if you take it as an owner distribution, or, over and above your salary, I mean, what that's going to become is, taxable income to you on your tax forms. And depending on how your corp is set up, LLC, S Corp, C Corp, as to how you can mitigate some of those tax burdens. So all of that is things that every business owner needs to understand and know. That's what's in our Fence Line of Success training and our summits and the ultimate stuff. And that's what's in the books that we're writing and trying to get out there to the industry. So it's been fun.
And so it sounds like you're saying, like, at what point do you start your succession plan? Immediately?
I tell everybody, if they've got any idea about, if they even think that they want to sell their company, or they want to succeed it, if they want to pass it on to a second or third generation company, owner, their child or somebody, or even an employee, okay, you've got to get your financials in order first. Okay. You got to cut out all of those over expenses, and you've got to really tighten your ship up for a couple of years. Okay. Because every equity company or every investment group, or if somebody that's going to buy your company is going to ask you for 2 years. Someone's going to ask you for 3 years of financials. So if you don't show those good numbers over a 2 to 3 year period, they're just going to say, your numbers don't even look good enough for me to even take a peep at you. So you got to start. If you're thinking 5 years from now, start now to where you got those 3 years, and you're probably going to be in pretty good shape.
Nice.
Yeah, because you don't know what they're going to pull out and want to ask. And you're like, oh, crap, I got to pull out that tax return. Oh, my God.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
It happens.
Yeah.
Well, look, Tony, we appreciate you, man. Thank you for being on the show. You've done great.
Yeah. I appreciate y'all.
Just before we go.
Real quick, I want to plug our Denver event. Okay, we still got a couple of seats left. That Denver event is February 5 through 8, and then we're going to be in Cincinnati on April 23 through 26 with the Super Summits. Okay, Fence Line of Success training. You can go to the website, www.fenceconsultinggroup.com. You can pull that information up. We got an events calendar there, and you can see everything that we've got going on. If I can ever be of any help to you guys, y'all know that phone call away, talking's free. So just give me a ring.
Hey, guys, and I've been to one of Tony's summits. It's great information. You got some really good speakers there. Nathan Downs. We're not going to really talk about Nathan because he decided to go get a podcast. And anyway, I'm trying to convince him it's a bad idea. Anyway, it's too late, huh? Anyway, Nathan is a great speaker there. And then who you got speaking? Do you still have Mark Olson coming up? We call him Flip Flop Mark Olson.
Yeah. Mark's not going to make it to the Denver event. He had a schedule conflict, but we've got Justin Judy, we got Sam Natello, and Nathan's going to come in. That's that week that I have to fly out a half a day early to get to Niagara Falls for the CFIA event. So Nathan's going to rah me through and finish me up that week. So
what about that cat, Mike? Is he going to be there?
Mike,
big tall Mike.
Oh no! His schedule had a conflict this year as well, so I'll be covering that training.
Dude, Mike had a lot of good information, but we need to give him some ecstasy or something. Let's get him
get him motivated.
Okay, Mike, this is good info, but I'm dozing.
I get it.
But the guy had some knowledge that literally was mind-blowing. If you're not in the mood to sit down and just learn, you don't want to sit down and with Mike. But if you're like, hey, I'm ready to learn, Mike is a sharp cat. He's got some really good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. Hey, look, we got Jeff Graff here said, I'm interested in coming to the Cincinnati Summit. Look, Jeff, contact Tony. What is it? FenceConsultingGroup.com. Inbox.
He can register online. Just go there, pull up the summits, and he can go register right now, and he'll have a seat. I'll tell you, the Cincinnati event has got a lot of interest. So go ahead and get registered pretty quick, Jeff.
Yeah,
love
good
to see
stuff.
You there.
Look, Tony, we appreciate your time, man. We know you're busy. Go get you a bite to eat because I know we had you tied up for a while, and maybe text me where you're at. I'm curious. It's like mysterious. Tony's like, I can't tell you where I'm at.
If I told you, all I'm going to tell you is this is a business meeting and we've got some exciting news coming out for the industry. And so if I told you where I was, you know all about it. But it is what it is. So,
well, look, man, I'm excited to hear about it.
Too.
And just to do a recap, guys, Tony is going to have a booth at the Fence Show and Security Expo. He's also going to be doing some training, helping develop some training and speaking there. He is also going to be a keynote speaker at the Canadian Fence Industry Association in Niagara Falls. Look, Tony, don't jump in a barrel and try to go over Niagara Falls. Pepper's from Hamburg. She could she could see Niagara Falls and see Canada from where she lived. So I always got to hear about, Lake Michigan or whatever the hell it was.
I get it.
Anyway.
I get it.
And you're going to be at Harris Casino for the Garden State Chapter AFA's Jackpot Education Section in Atlantic City, January 20th to 21st.
Next week.
Yeah. Are you bringing Miss Tammy with you? Is she going to be like, penny slots? or what?
No, she upped me. She's gonna spend the week with the grandkids out in Lubbock. So she calls that a up me, So anyway.
Yeah, nice lady, guys. We got to hang out with her at the Shangri-La Resort in the July summit that you had 2022.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Well, look, man, we appreciate you. Thank you, and you have a good one, man. You need anything, you give us a call. We'll help you out. Okay.
Keep on fencing, guys. Y'all take
All
care.
right, buddy. Thank you.
Honey.
All right, bye. Man, good stuff. Huh?
Wow. Yeah. Very informative. I feel like I learned a lot today.
I know, man. Tony is just he definitely takes his vitamins.
Oh yeah. And he's like super like pumped and motivated the whole time and constantly coming out with really great information. I'm super pumped about the boot camp. I didn't know we were going to talk about it. I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to send Dylan to that. I'm trying to get
Yes.
Dylan to go to gate automation school, but it seems like every time it happens, there's always something. I can't get him to it. So
Well,
I think
now
they got one in New York or something coming up.
there is one coming up in New York, I believe. I'll have to look it up for you, but I mean, there's no better time than the present. There's no reason to wait anymore.
It's just I don't know why it always happens and it's difficult, girl. It's a pain in the butt. But I got to get him there because, as you know, we use Daryl with Firefly. He helps us out a lot, and I really need to get Dylan out there being able to do some more of that. So
Yeah, send him to the school, then send him under Daryl for the 1-year internship.
yeah.
It'll be awesome.
I got to get on top of that. So, what did you think about your first celebrity co-host of the My Fence Life show?
Like, it was awesome, and I'm super excited. I didn't wear my Crocs. I wore Hey Dudes because I felt like Canon wears Hey Dudes. And so, like,
I can't believe you wear Crocs.
I love Crocs. They're the greatest shoe ever made.
They're horrible.
They're
No,
so comfortable.
no, Susan.
I can wear them with socks, without socks,
Susan. No.
sports mode,
Stop.
relax mode.
4-wheel drive mode. No, stop.
I have the little lights coming in.
Dear Jesus.
I love my Crocs.
I am coming down to the backwoods of Prairieville, and I'm going to slap some sense into you, girl.
Like I said, I wore Hey Dudes today.
Oh, my goodness. Well, look, guys, we appreciate y'all watching. Thank you, Susan, for sitting in for Cannon this week.
Thank
Cannon's
you.
going to get our little Google Doc that we're using. He's going to be like, what the hell is all this? What are all these notes?
Yes, I made a lot of notes.
Yeah, you did. Hey, it was fun. It was a great time.
Thank
I got to figure out how to turn the show off now. Cannon usually runs this show. I'm just along for the ride. But look, guys, y'all be safe. Don't drink. Don't drive. Do the watermelon crawl. Happy fencing.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you for listening to the My Fence Life podcast. And a special shout out to our sponsors, Southwest Automated Security, our flagship sponsor and your one-stop shop for gate operators, access control, and video surveillance. Expert Stain and Seal.
RealGoodStain.com.
Rachel with My Salesman, the lead qualifying software.
Know before you go.
D&D Technologies, the world's largest and most trusted gate hardware manufacturer and home of the industrial metal Shut It Badass Hinge. And Benji with CleverFox.online, helping businesses digitally outfox the competition. We invite you to leave us a review. Your 5-star ratings and reviews help spread the word to others in our industry. You can connect with Dan and Cannon on Instagram and Facebook at My Fence Life.
The concepts and methods discussed are just the perspective of Dan, Cannon, and their guests. We hope these ideas inspire you to go out there and crush it in your own business.
I'm Mr. Producer, reminding you to click follow on your podcast app to receive notifications of future episodes of My Fence Life.